Hi, everyone. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Daily BizLink. Jane Cebrynski is back, and today we're covering the topic of 10 moments for transformation. So, Jane, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much, Lindsay. It's always my pleasure. And of course, as we begin every one of our little workouts together, give me a 10 moment.
My 10 moments, I get a lot of 10 moments by helping to create 10 moments for other people. And so, one of those that I identified within my personal life is creating those for my stepkids. So we have triplets. For those of you that don't know, we have triplets, and with triplets, they share the same birthday and they don't necessarily have their own independent special day. So we created our own family holiday. We celebrate Sisters Day and Brothers Day. Today happens to be Isabel's Sisters Day celebration. So we started with balloons and a fun breakfast this morning, and then have a pizza party tonight to celebrate her. So that's been a 10 moment for us.
Love that. Got to do a little victory dance around that. Oh, the power of moments. And, that's why I wanted to have this conversation. And I thought over the next 3 weeks, let's take this really fun, very powerful and transformative tool and share it in a little bit more depth with our audience. You and I've been training for years together, so you're very well versed in it. And I'm sure some of the audience, when they log on for the first time, they're like, what the heck are they talking about? So this is the benchmark of our coaching, and I think is really powerful.
Yeah, of all the tools that I've learned from Jane, this is the one that I use and leverage on a daily basis. So this is, if you're ready for transformation, if you're ready to get rid of that blah or I feel fine, but not great feeling, this is the tool you need.
Well, so as you know, the stat tool is the benchmark of our coaching. And just like in sports, stats are numbers. They are facts and figures that tell us about the performance of an athlete or the performance of a team. And we use the same system on a scale of 1 to 10 to really evaluate how are we living and training in our own lives, not only professionally, but also personally, and in that third dimension, philanthropically. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low and 10 being high, we say it's got to at least be an 8 to be great, but we train our clients to go for and live a 10 life using this tool.
Yeah. And living a 10 life is something within our own control or power. Oftentimes, I think individuals that are feeling a little blah, they rely on other people or other experiences or other settings to make them feel like a 10. So by learning the tips and the tricks behind these tools and how to elevate them yourself, I think you'll find that to be really empowering.
Yeah. And so, oftentimes I hear when I'm having this conversation with people is, well, a 7 is okay. And, I'm sitting there asking myself the question, like, is it really? Like, don't you want to go for more in terms of, how you're living your life? And I also hear, well, nothing's a 10. There's no such thing as perfect. And that's not what we're going for. What we're going for is a feeling. So when I ask for that 10 moment, it's about a feeling, that if you could recreate this every single day, this is what it would feel like. And so the first step is just simply to identify, what is a 10 moment for me? And you can draw professionally, you can draw personally, you can draw philanthropically to come up with kind of that benchmark that says, okay, this is a 10 moment for me. This is a 10. And it might be a moment where you felt courageous. It might be you felt strong or well accomplished, or you overcame something. It could be just like it was so joyful. I was giddy inside. I was smiling. I was happy. That's what we're going for. That's energy. And it's about the feeling, because at a subconscious level, we're creating 10 moments all the time, but it's about now taking it from a subconscious level to the conscious level and being very intentional and very aware of what those things feel like.
Now, I know not everybody's version of a 10 moment is the same, right? It's based on our personal interpretation. But
Yes.
I think it may be helpful for some of our listeners to know, like, how do you go about elevating or creating those 10 moments? How can you take kind of a okay situation and make it even better?
Well, so that's what we're going to talk about over the course of the next couple of weeks. The first thing I want to do, though, is get your audience thinking about, like, what is a 10 moment for me? And hey, guys, if you can't find one, that's a sign. that's a sign right there that there's some work to be done. And that's not uncommon, right? Many of us go through life kind of functioning in a state of, I don't want to say mediocrity, but we're just kind of going through life and we're burning out. We're firing on all cylinders that we don't really stop and think about it. And as a general whole, you might ask somebody like, okay, what's your stat on your life? And they'll be like, oh my God, my life's amazing. It's an 8. And then when we start to unpack it, you might find that, well, professionally, it's an 8. I'm killing it at work. I'm having a ball. I love what I'm doing. But then my personal life is suffering. I'm not spending time with my loved ones, my friends. Or you might find, okay, my stats are really pretty mediocre across the board. And usually, if somebody's got low stats in a lot of spaces, they're on the verge of burnout. So in my world, that's just an opportunity for us to do some work to elevate and raise those stats. So it's not about being perfect. We're not talking about gymnastics here. We're just talking about our lives and what does that 10 feel like. So that's the first step. Begin to explore, and then I want you to write it down. I want you to write it down, and I want you to include as many senses as possible. Just get into those 5 senses of taste, smell, sight, sound, and really journal about a particular moment. And then we're going to explore from there.
Awesome. Well, Jane, as we look to wrap up today's conversation, is there anything else that you'd like to leave our audience with?
No, other than just begin to be aware of maybe kind of what your stats are right now in general in your overall life, and start to anchor in those 10 moments and see what starts to show up for you.
Great. Well, Jane, thanks again for being here.
Thanks so much, Lindsay. Have an awesome 10 moment tonight.